All right, let's get right into it. The crypto market right now, it's like a high-stakes tug-of-war. You've got this insane bull market pulling one way and a huge storm of global regulation pulling the other. We're going to break down exactly what's going on in this massive conflict.
I mean, just look at the numbers. On the surface, things look absolutely amazing. Bitcoin is just stubbornly holding strong right around its all-time highs. We're talking near $91,000. It looks like pure strength, right? And it's all being fueled by this massive wave of institutional money that's finally validating crypto in a way we've never seen before.
But if you're in the markets, you can feel it, can't you? There's this tension in the air, a kind of anxiety just bubbling right under the surface. The only word for it really is tense. So the big question is, why? What's really going on here?
Okay, so it really all boils down to this one epic clash. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got a fire hose of cash, all this bullish momentum from big institutions and the new ETFs just pushing prices up. But on the other side, you've got this massive storm cloud of regulatory headwinds. And it's creating this incredible squeeze, a squeeze that could literally decide which projects make it and which ones just get wiped out.
All right, so to really get what's happening, you have to look under the hood. We've got to check out the two massive engines that have been powering this entire market cycle, stablecoins and ETFs. And let's start with the one that's kind of the unsung hero, operating behind the scenes.
It's a weird question, isn't it? I mean, why is a stable coin causing such a huge global freakout? It's supposed to be boring. How can something designed to be stable be the main character in all this drama? Well, the answer comes down to one thing. It's mind-boggling, unbelievable scale.
So for anyone who's not deep in the weeds, let's do a quick refresher. A stablecoin is basically just a crypto token that's tied or pegged to a real-world asset, usually the good old US dollar. Think of them as the digital dollars of crypto. They're the plumbing, the rails that the whole system runs on. They let you move money around super fast and cheap without all the crazy price swings you get with Bitcoin.
And listen, this isn't some niche crypto thing anymore. We are way past that. Like Parth Gargavar from Fidelity Labs said, these things could become the actual backbone of how money moves, not just here, but globally. We're talking about a revolution here, turning transfers that take days into something that takes minutes.
Okay, you ready for this? Because to really get the scale we're talking about, you need to hear this stat. And this isn't a prediction for the future. This is happening right now. In 2024, the total amount of money moved using stablecoins has already blown past the combined volume of Visa and MasterCard. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't a little experiment anymore. This is a full-blown parallel financial system.
And then, of course, we have that second engine, the ETFs. Man, these things have just kicked the doors open for institutional money. The floodgates are wide open. I mean, we've got a brand new XRP ETF from 21 shares ready to launch. And just the last day, we saw over $666 million gush into these funds. And the big players, like BlackRock, they're just constantly buying, snapping up almost $600 million in Bitcoin and Ether just a few hours ago. This right here is the jet fuel for the bull run.
But you know how it goes. Whenever a new technology gets this powerful, it gets noticed. And now, the other character in our story is stepping onto the stage. The antagonist, if you will. A coordinated global regulatory machine that is, finally, making its move.
And here it is, the trigger event, the news that's sending shockwaves through the entire market. And it just broke a few hours ago. Reports are coming out that China is starting policy talks to crack down on stablecoins. Now look, I know what you're thinking. Oh, more FUD from Asia. But this is different. This is a direct attack on the very backbone of DeFi liquidity. Why? Because stablecoins are the lifeblood of decentralized finance. This isn't just noise, folks. This is a potential system-wide shock.
And you have to understand, this move from China isn't happening in a vacuum. It's not some isolated event. Look at the timeline. Europe has been sounding the alarm. Over in the US, you've got the Genius Act for stablecoins being kicked around in the Senate. The new SEC chair, Paul Adkins, he's made it a key priority to get a clear framework in place. And the group trying to tie it all together, the Bank for International Settlements, is pushing all these countries to cooperate. See the pattern? This isn't random. It's a coordinated global squeeze.
So, okay, with these two massive forces, the bulls and the regulator smashing into each other, how in the world do you figure out what's really going on? How do you cut through the noise? Well, I'm going to give you a simple toolkit.
Just 3 metrics you can use to check the market's temperature for yourself.
First up, Bitcoin dominance. Right now, it's sitting at a pretty high 58.6%. What does that mean? Well, think of it as a fear gauge. When dominance is high, it means money is running for safety. Investors are dumping their smaller, riskier altcoins and piling into the big one, Bitcoin. It's a classic risk-off signal. It's the market screaming, "I'm scared."
And the altcoin season index just confirms what we're seeing with dominance. We're at a 22 out of 100. That is not an alt season, not even close. It means we are deep in Bitcoin season. Cash just isn't flowing into those smaller projects, and that lack of liquidity makes them super vulnerable to any sudden shocks or sell-offs.
And our third tool, the good old Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Today, we're clocking in at a chilly 28. That puts us squarely in fear territory. Now, it's not full-on panic mode, but it's definitely hesitation. You can feel it. The market is basically just holding its breath, waiting to see who's going to win this fight, the bullish ETF money or the regulatory squeeze. Okay, so let's pull back and look at the big picture. We've seen the engines powering the market and the conflict that's putting the brakes on. So what does it all mean? Like, where are we, really, in this whole cycle?
Well, according to some research from Fidelity Digital Assets, we might be entering the final phase of this bull market. They call it the acceleration phase. And historically, this part of the ride is known for 2 things: insane volatility and one last massive price surge. So the key takeaway here is pretty simple. Buckle up. It's going to get wild.
So what happens when all this regulatory pressure really hits? Well, the most likely outcome is something you could call the Great Consolidation. As the rules get stricter all over the world, where do you think the big money is going to go? It's going to run to safety, to the projects that are seen as compliant and institutionally backed. We're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's going to completely reshape the market, putting an incredible amount of pressure on all those smaller, less compliant projects.
So what could happen like this weekend? Let's game it out. There are really 2 main scenarios on the table. Scenario 1, we'll call it the reversal. This is where the sheer force of all that ETF money coming from BlackRock and others just steamrolls the fear, and we see Bitcoin push up towards $92,000, maybe even $95,000. But then there's scenario 2, the SC crack. This is where that China news really starts to sink in over the low liquidity weekend, and it spooks the market, triggering a surprise dump all the way back down to retest $80,000.
Look, at the end of the day, whether Bitcoin is at 90,000 or 80,000, that's just a number. The real game being played here is about power. It's about control. We're watching a revolutionary technology mature, with trillions of dollars on the line, and the battle to decide its future is happening right now. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. As the rules for the future of money are being written in real time, who do you think is holding the pen?